Salutations, respected viewers. This is George from Ireland. This video is about the reaction of the Trumpsters to the so-called Caravan, which is currently 1,000 miles from the United States. So there's been much Trumpery about this. If you don't know what Trumpery is, look it up. And you'll see that the English language was prescient. Something like 400 years ago, there was a word invented which more or less sums up Trump's style. Perhaps that's nominative determinism. For you, not that Trump would know too many words. Anyhow, you see the reaction much of the Republican Party and their semi-official channel, Fox News, to roughly 5,000 people crossing Mexico. I don't know if any of them intend to come to the United States. But just think about this. Since 1607, tens of millions of immigrants have arrived in America. But we're told America's going to be destroyed by another 5,000. 5,000 on top of tens of millions? What difference is that going to make? Of those 5,000, how many even want to go to the United States? I don't know. I don't think many. Certainly the current extremely xenophobic rhetoric will put them off. Some of them won't make it, will settle in Mexico, blah, blah, blah. And when they attempt to cross the border, how many will actually make it? I think a tiny, tiny proportion. So you see the utter cowardice of much of the Republican Party, that they're absolutely petrified of a handful of unarmed people, an invasion. There have been comments on my previous video saying this is an invasion, and I pointed out how preposterous that was. I said, no, it is an invasion. It's similar to a military invasion. It's like a bacterial invasion. So they're likening people to this organism, which is a disease. It shows you how viciously racist it is, how they're dehumanizing these people. So, but think of that, as I say, the sheer cowardice, people wetting themselves over this. The United States is the mightiest military power the world has ever known. But it can't keep away 5,000 unarmed people. Some people are frightened of unarmed children. I mean, it's insane. The United States has the power to destroy the world countless times over, and yet it's frightened of this. Now, many Americans, I think most Americans are not frightened of these people. It's absolutely not anti-American, this video. I'm against a certain section of the Republican Party. I'm afraid to say probably most of the Republican Party. Now, there's xenophobia in most countries, but I think it's more severe in the United States than many other places. Invasion. Think about that word. When was America actually invaded? You could say the event that you're going to celebrate in roughly 3 weeks' time, the Pilgrim Fathers. They didn't request permission of the Native Americans to immigrate to America before they arrived. 10,000 nations, that's what America was. The territory that's now the United States before the Pilgrim Fathers arrived. The Native American tribes, you could call them nations, having their own polities, their own languages, all the rest of it. And these English immigrants almost never requested permission before settling. Now, I know some Native Americans were very welcoming and say the Pilgrim Fathers. Now, shouldn't some people in the United States take a leaf out of their book, as especially going to celebrate that show of compassion and humanity in Thanksgiving? And if you can't do that, then don't do it. Now, you see how the West was won. Well, I remember that film, They Died With Their Boots On, starring Errol Flynn, a 1930s film about the 7th Cavalry. And the postscriptum says, a ruthlessly advancing civilization spelt doom for the red race. The red race alluding to the Native Americans. Well, that was true apart from the word civilization. I'm being a bit flippant. Of course the United States was civilized, but civilization can exist, coexist with barbarity. Highly sophisticated people are also capable of the most vicious crimes, such as massacres of Native Americans. And I'm not singling America out. Many countries have done this. My country has done similar things like that. And of course, there are always decent Americans as there are people of other nationalities. So don't want to be stereotyping, not demonizing. Like those who are so het up about the Caravan are the ones who are vilifying other people. Now, this is the astonishing thing in rhetoric from certain people, that every wave of invasion is presented as an existential threat to the nation. But that wave of immigration is soon absorbed, the row dies down, it's pretty soon forgotten, they are often assimilated, accepted. And a generation later, it'll be much the same story against the next wave of immigrants. And there's a lot of anti-Hispanic hysteria in all this. About 25% of people in the United States are Hispanic. Almost all of those people are American citizens. And yeah, let's not forget that obviously those southwestern states belong to Mexico, were Spanish-speaking before they're English-speaking. That's where there's so many Spanish language toponyms. Well, San Francisco, Los Angeles. I'm just trying to think. In Texas, there's Corpus Christi. Well, that's Latin actually. San Antonio, Santa Fe. Think of the names of the states like Nevada. I could go on. And then people have said, oh, they're coming for the healthcare. Or, well, I don't think they're going to get access to that. Oh, yes, this is the latest canal. They're bringing smallpox, which was eradicated almost 40 years ago, right? So what, I suppose it's weapons of mass destruction, is it? Well, smallpox is curable, by the way. And those people who are sounding the alarm bell on public health, if you really care about public health, why don't you want publicly funded healthcare? Those who are so terrified of the so-called diseases carried by the caravan are usually the same people who are absolutely opposed to the government helping poor people with healthcare. So you'd think that healthcare would be a bigger issue than immigration. Now, immigration to the United States has always gone on, shall always go on. You can debate what level it should be. So there's nothing new there. The fact that there was a fairly good scheme, you know, this Affordable Care and Patient Protection Act, it suddenly got rid of. People's healthcare costs have gone up and all that. You think that would be more of a live issue. Of course, the Democrats are not very savvy. They should be playing this card for all they're worth. We're going to give you publicly funded healthcare. Obviously, Trump, Ted Cruz, and their enablers have been lying like crazy, claiming that they're going to protect people with pre-existing conditions, which again is an outright falsehood. Ted Cruz, the man with his hand on the Bible all the time, is happy to lie shamelessly. Anyway, and Trump then has the nerve to bang on about the wickedry of chain migration. A bit like Melania's parents coming. Is that chain migration? And, you know, his first wife was from Czechoslovakia, which then existed. I don't think he was a bad man for marrying her, or a bad man for marrying a Slovenian immigrant. But is it different because they're white, because they're not Hispanic or something? They didn't arrive speaking perfect English, still speak English, which is certainly heavily accented. Well, Melania makes mistakes. Does Tomi Lahren want her booted out, saying, oh, you don't come here not speaking English? I'd like to know how many foreign languages Tomi Lahren can speak. Admittedly, she's not trying to emigrate, but who would want her? We only want talented people, Tomi, educated people. So anyway, it proves yet again that Trump doesn't actually believe a word he says. I don't think he's actually anti-immigrant. He's not pro-immigrant either. He just doesn't give a damn. He'll say anything he thinks will get him votes. He'll just grub down in the gutter for more votes. Take away birthright citizenship? Fine, Trump, go home. You got citizenship through birth. So did your father, but his parents got it through naturalization. If you really think that, take it away from everybody. Practice what you preach. Renouncing birthright citizenship, well, that begins at home. And no naturalization, they're all evil. Everybody except the Native Americans. This is insanity that all whites who believe that should self-deport back to Europe. The only ones who are really Native are Native Americans. Now, I know most African Americans, their ancestors came to the United States because they were abducted. So their ancestors didn't have a choice. So they should certainly be allowed to stay in America, even by that preposterous rationale of no birthright citizenship. Anyway, now, but let's be fair and turn down the temperature, because there's been so much intemperate rhetoric on this. Immigration is an issue. It's just something that's worth discussing. What level should it be at? Higher, lower? I think only a fool would say it should be zero, or else have zero limit. And if you're going to have an immigration policy, that means you have to have rules. And some people who come illegally, well, you should try and stop them, and you should try to hold them humanely if you assess their case, to see if they've got a well-founded fear of persecution. That's a right under international law to seek asylum. And if they do have this, obviously let them stay. If they don't, they need to be removed and do all this humanely. I'm okay with deportations, and hundreds of thousands of deportations happened under Obama. He didn't get on about it very much. But you see how preposterous this rhetoric is, how really over the top it is. It's a moral panic. And, you know, it'll probably vanish as quickly as it flared up. These things are highly volatile. Just like in April, there was that caravan. Who now remembers that? So you're an American, you might be incensed that I have the temerity to comment on your politics. Please have the chutzpah to comment on mine. Your government compiles human rights reports about every country in the world, which I don't object to, and I agree to most of the content of that. So permissive liberty, that's really part of the American way of life, and we have it in my country too. You're allowed to do anything unless it's specifically forbidden. So I welcome freedom of expression. I really value the First Amendment. Now, my country doesn't have it as such. We do have freedom of expression. We don't have a First Amendment which says that. So please, I welcome your comments on my politics. You might think I'm completely misguided. You might think the way we do things in the Republic of Ireland or the UK is dreadful, but I'm willing to hear for that. You could be right. So anyway, it brings me on to something which is also astonishing, the notion of American exceptionalism. The United States is so exceptional that the rules don't apply to them. The whole world should follow the US example, though. What? I don't get it. Like the neocons saying, our model is so fantastic, we have to export that, impose it, if necessary, with predator drones. That there really is only one way, and it's our way. This is superiority complex. I know it's difficult not to feel that way if you're a hyperpower. But you might see the disconnect here, that we're exceptional, except everybody has to copy us. Everybody has to follow these rules except for us. Do as I say, not as I do. Like, the International Criminal Court, which the United States was eager to set up and has had other people tried before it, but American military personnel cannot be tried before it. You see the flagrant hypocrisy there, the conceit. Now, many Americans will agree with me. I'm not disagreeing with being American or slamming the United States as such. There's certain policies, certain attitudes, which you'd find in other countries too. So anyway, do I want the Caravan to come to the United States? No, not really. I think it'd be reasonable to stop them. That's fine. What I object to is the ludicrously over-the-top oratory on this one, the distasteful tone, the unmissable racism in this rhetoric about how dreadful they are. Do some of them have communicable diseases? I don't know. They might do. Mostly they're coming from Honduras and Guatemala, where the health situation is worse than in the United States. So it's quite possible that some of them do have diseases they could pass on to other people. But what you could discuss this in a dispassionate manner is a question of tone, rather than trying to say that they all carry these things on the scantiest of evidence. And someone who's got a communicable disease deserves sympathy. They should get health care. They shouldn't be demonized as though they're somehow evil or something like that. All right, so better if these people don't come. And if they do come, be stopped. And if they are not fleeing, if they don't have a well-founded fear of persecution, be humanely removed. That's my take. And that was the policy already. The only reason that this absurd, overheated and alarmist rhetoric broke out is because Trump is panicked and thinks he's going to lose. He's already getting his excuses in fast.